you don't put pressure on yourself. So like we know what we're capable of. So that way you can come back the next day and it's just like, okay, it wasn't our day. You kind of tip your hat to the competition if you just didn't have it that day. So it's just easier to come back and to play your own game, because some days like you're just not going to have it. And that's just how the game is. It's a game of inches and it may not go your way that day. And kind of like the game against Ole Miss, we hit the ball, I think 21 times right at somebody just about, and that's how it felt, so that's just how it is.
I'll let somebody else go. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
KB, in your former stop, you probably looked at this matchup with Auburn as a pretty good rivalry. Have you been playing with or against a few of these players on Auburn for quite some time, maybe even going back to high school?
I have played with Aspen Godwin. She's our catcher. I don't know if she'll catch this weekend, but we played travel ball together, and I know quite a few of them, not as many as I used to that were there last year, but definitely have played against them a couple times. They're pretty young this year, but I know a lot of the old Thunderbolt girls are on that team, so I am very familiar with them. And just, like me being from Alabama, I was not an Auburn fan, obviously, so it's a little bit personal for me just because I don't like Auburn like at all. So
well, I'm glad you hid behind that. I'm glad you told the truth on that. You didn't say that it was just another matchup. There's some general dislike, right? When you play at Alabama for Auburn.
Yeah, I think it's like growing up, it's just like I never liked Auburn. That's just what was in my blood, and I've always been that way with Tennessee and LSU, but Auburn just hits a little bit different because it's just, I don't know, that's just how I was raised, and it's just I don't like Auburn at all, like nothing about it. Do you have any other questions for KB? No? All right. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Oh. Thank you. They can't hear me yelling at everyone. Hi, everybody.
Hey, how are you today?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing very well. Very well. Well, KB shared with us her dislike for the Auburn Tigers. So
I know. I didn't hear any of her interview. And then at the end, it got quiet in our coach's room. And it was like, I've never really liked Auburn. I was like, ooh, tread lightly. But that's where she's raised. It's just like, it's par for the course when you're an Alabama kid.
It is. Can you just talk to us a little bit about what Auburn brings this year? I know, you had some close games with them a year ago. I know you won 3 of them, but they're all, again, fairly tight games.
Yeah, we had 3 very close games with them. We actually were just going back through the scores and just kind of, who we faced, all of that stuff. And I think what they continue to do well this year that they did really well last year is they pitch it. They pitch it really, really well. They have a staff that they utilize, and they not only complement each other, but they just are elite. They swing it this year, and I think that's the big difference, I think, between looking at last year's Auburn team and this year's Auburn team is they swing with a ton of confidence. They have a lot of long balls. They have a lot of new kids, but they just have a new confidence to them that we didn't really see last year, just being really honest. So they play with a ton of confidence. They play with a ton of emotion, and they're playing really well.
How much do you attribute that to their coach?
A lot. I don't know. I mean, I think that I think it's a new group that has just like a new air to them. And then I think that, yeah, they facilitate that. Absolutely. I absolutely think teams take on their coaches' personalities.
I'll let somebody else go. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Hi, Coach. I'm Rennie. I'm an intern for Softball America. I wanted to ask you, since the series last year was in Auburn, this year is in Fayetteville, what's it like to play in front of the home crowd in Bogle Park?
Well, we just always love being home. So we're actually excited. We have 2 back-to-back home weekends. And it's just really nice to be home. But honestly, I think we have one of the nicest, if not the nicest stadium in the country. And our fans are incredible. So I know that Saturday's already sold out. So we'll have, 3,000 at the game. And it's just a really, really cool atmosphere that I honestly think is unmatched across the country, because our fans are loyal. Our fans are classy. Our fans just love the Razorbacks, and they do just a really good job of celebrating our team. I know a lot of times you can go to other stadiums and they might be full, but it's hostile. They can kind of cross the line sometimes with not only cheering for their team, but cheering against the other team. And I just think our fans do a really, really good job of creating a great softball atmosphere.
Awesome. And then one more question I have is Danielle Gibson. She's having an insane year. What has she been doing differently this season to get to this level that she's
Well,
at?
that's a good question for her, probably. Honestly, I just think she's so smart, not only about the game, but about her preparation. She just knows what she needs more than ever. And there were times through her career that she honestly would over prepare. And there's times that she would ride the highs and lows of the game. And she is just so level. And she's just sharp. She's just really, really sharp about the game, about her approach, about how teams approach her, and everything. She's just a really, really sharp softball player.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of the year, when you were asked about whether this offense could be better than last year, you didn't even hesitate before we could finish the question, and you would say yes. And I know sometimes early in the year we react to games that go up and down, but it looks like you're quite prophetic now as this is getting longer and longer. So as
every once in a while I'll get one right.
Well, the tough part is
after opening weekend, you probably were like, what the crap is she talking about?
Well, you take Braxton's numbers out, and then obviously you've got to replace that. And then the people that had good years have to have good or better years, and then someone else needs to step in. But have you just seen the last, say, month that continued progress towards maybe where you want to be offensively?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that our offense has absolutely set the tone for us throughout the year with the few games at the beginning that I just honestly think, there's been maybe a handful of games that have been outliers, and then just the way that they are producing so consistently and at the rate they're producing, it's really fun to watch. It's just really fun to see their process. It's fun to prepare, and how much they invest in that, and how committed they are to just studying everything, and just this being really, really level with anything, and being really, really coachable. And so you guys get to see the product out on the field and game day, but it's really fun to watch them every day. They just are so committed to being the best that they can be. And then it's just fun to see them produce at that level.
Sometimes when teams are struggling, everybody tries to be the person to come through with the big hit, and kind of there's a little pressure there. But is there the sense with your team that if you aren't hitting, that someone else behind you is, and maybe even that takes a little bit of pressure off if you're convinced that one of your teammates is going to come through with a big hit, or somebody is?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they not only have a ton of confidence in themselves individually, they have a ton of confidence in their teammates, and know that it doesn't have to just fall on them. And that hasn't always been the case with our offense. We've had a few clustered together, and now just the strength throughout. They know that someone's going to get it done. And so just the ability to play freely, knowing that someone's going to have their back if they don't get it done, I think that's huge. I mean, even like of late, the bottom of our order has been killing it and just creating such great opportunities for the top of our order. And so it's fun. It's fun. It's been someone different every day, except Gibby. She's been pretty consistent, but it's been somebody different every day, and they do a really good job of celebrating each other. And it's a really cool thing to be a part of.
Hey, Coach, you have exactly 1 month left in the regular season, 3 series wins to start conference play. Just how would you evaluate where your team is at this point in the season, and what do you want to see out of them in the last month?
I know it's crazy. I was actually talking today about how already being in the home stretch of season kind of, and it's like, gosh, it just flew by. I like where we're at a ton. I like our journey to getting here. I think that we've had some tough times, like going through of like parts of our game just not clicking exactly right, or firing as much as it can. And I think that's going to make us stronger down the line. I think we're finally getting to the point where everything's kind of coming together, and that hasn't always been the case for us. I feel like in years past we've shot out of the gates pretty quick and felt like we were playing really good ball, and then like it hasn't always worked out the way that we wanted it to. And so we just really feel like we're in a really good spot, and some of the lessons that we've had to learn early are going to make us stronger down the stretch. But I do really feel like everything's coming together pretty well. Hopefully carries through the weekend. I feel like anytime you say that, go leading into a weekend, you're like setting yourself up. But I feel really confident in where the team's at.
What do you like about where your pitching staff is at specifically?
Well, they're executing a lot better. I like their composure. I like how they're attacking hitters. I like that their presence out there, and then obviously just the execution of their pitches. I think they've done a really good job of late, and this is what we knew they could do all along. And they knew it too. I think they were just as frustrated, and so they're really just have put together some really strong outings, and really dug in on the preparation piece. So I'm really happy with it.
You got any other questions?
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. See ya.